Hi guys, what you're looking at here is a G340 long block kit from Zenoa. It's a 38 millimeter Zenoa motor, but I'm a big fan of long blocks, and I've purchased them in the past, and the reason I like them so much is because you're basically getting a whole new motor without buying parts and paying for parts that you don't need that you can take off your existing motor. I got this from DDM. It was on a Black Friday sale for $179, and it includes everything you're looking at here. Basically your top end, your bottom end, your +2 crank, and it's a G340. It's a very powerful motor, and I paid $179 for it. So I already have a G320 stock, so basically it's like getting another motor for $179, which to me seems pretty reasonable for a motor like this. Anyone that has a stock 26 now in their Baja or their Losi, or a 27.2 or a 28 or a G290 or even a 30.5, and you're looking to upgrade, this might be an option for you. There's a lot of good engines out there, and I'm just letting you know what this particular one includes and what it costs and whatnot. This is normally $199 for your long block G340. And I'm going to show you, if you want to upgrade to a nice Zenoa G340, which is very powerful, how you can get into one of these and the additional parts needed, including the parts you're going to take from your existing motor, should you have one, for under $260. You can get into a G340, basically a brand new motor, with just a few extra parts you got to buy. Okay, now don't let it fool you. The G320 is rated for only 3.5 horsepower, just like the G290. Okay, the horsepower means nothing, so don't look at that. This is a very powerful, torquey motor, as is the G320, but the G340 has a +2 crank, so it's even more powerful. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Your horsepower numbers, your dyno numbers, they're often inflated by engine manufacturers. Not all the time, but often. You know, they're claiming 9, 10, 13 horsepower out of these little things. I doubt it. But at any rate, let's talk about what you get with this long bore. Here's what the head kit came in, and it specifies it's a 38 millimeter. Of course, it's a 38 millimeter, the 320 and 340. The stroke is a 30 millimeter because it's a +2 crank, making it a G340. 4-cylinder bolts, of course. It's a piston port. It's not a reed or anything. And of course, it's an air-cooled motor, and it's not ESP ported. I didn't get the ESP ported. As far as that goes, keeps the cost down. I'll just be happy with the plain stock G340, in my opinion. But here's of course, you get the cylinder head it comes with, okay, and then you get your crank and your bottom end. Here's the two halves. The two halves come together, okay. They're already bolted together. The crank is not in it. I just put it in it because I want to show you something. You get the bolts with it, the gasket, basically everything. You get your piston. Over here you get your piston ring. You get your head gasket. Here's your transfer port covers right here with your screws. Remember to put some sealer on those when you do in fact attach those to your head. And here is your piston pin and circlips and the ends and whatnot. And before we go any further, when you do order one of these, make sure, I don't know why they don't include it, but you order your Zenoa wrist pin bearing, okay, because it doesn't come with it. You're going to need that. And you can't take your wrist pin bearing from your existing motor. It won't fit. It's got to be specified for the G320. So don't forget to order that. I wish they would include it, but they don't. So that's something you're going to have to order. Okay, your wrist pin bearing for the 320. 340, same thing. Don't forget that, or you're going to be screwed when you go to put this thing together. Also included with this long bore kit is specific instructions, very, very detailed, on top end replacement. How to take off your old one, how to put the new one on, referring mainly to the top end. I don't think it talks too much about the bottom end and stuff, but it's pretty much self-explanatory as far as that goes. Okay, then you also get from Doug from ESP, even though this is not an ESP ported motor, carb tuning, a whole sheet on carb tuning, very, very extensive. So you get a lot of good information out of that. That all comes with the kit, okay? So that's some good info to have. How to tune your carb. Okay? And then here, most importantly, what I thought was interesting is on the +2 cranks, your cranks, okay, this is instructions about how to modify your bottom end. Well, this bottom end is already modified. Now, what do I mean by that? They had to shave a certain amount of material off the bottom 2 halves, right in here. Shave it down because the bottom of your crank at the full downstroke would be hitting your 2 case halves. Your +2 crank is a little wider on the bottom. Now, they milled that down for you already. You don't have to worry about it. These instructions tell you how to do it, okay, if you want to use a Dremel tool. But it's already done when you order it. So that's kind of a nice thing there. All done. By the way, you do get your bearings and your seals and all that in your bottom half. You even get the gasket when you put it together. So there's really nothing more, to get as far as that goes. Having said that, when you go to put the top cylinder head on, you will have to use your existing head bolts from your other motor. That's no big deal. They'll fit as far as that goes. I also wanted to point out, too, on the G320 and G340, the head, as far as your exhaust goes, your exhaust port is the same. So whatever pipe you're currently using will also fit on the G320, G340. Okay? These holes are the same. The exhaust outlet is completely the same. Okay? Now, I want to point out a couple of differences and what you're going to need besides this $199 longbore kit in order to complete the whole G340 motor. So let's go over here and I'll show you the additional things needed, and I'm even going to tell you how much it cost and what this whole thing's going to run you. Okay, if you want to drop a G340, whether it be in your Baja or your Losi or whatever. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to need this wrist pin bearing. That's something you're going to have to order if you're going into the, the G320, G340 application. So that's one thing. That's going to cost you, and I'm going to quote these prices from DDM. Your wrist pin bearing is $4.99. So you're looking at $5. Okay? You're also going to need a different size manifold because the G320, 340 takes a different manifold. Your outer holes here and here are different. Okay, so you can't take your existing manifold from one of your smaller engines. It's not going to work. Okay, again, if you just want to get the stock manifold, they're as cheap as $6.99. They're takeoffs. Okay, they're brand new. They just took them off other motors, haven't been used them. And then you want to, of course, get a gasket for that, and they're $2. Okay, so there's basically another $9. So the wrist pin bearing, the manifold, the gasket. Your shroud cover is also a different size on the 320 and the 340. It's a little bit wider. So your existing shroud cover on your smaller motors, not going to fit. Okay, this is going to run you $12.50 through DDM. And these are all regular prices. These aren't sale prices or anything. Maybe you can get them a little cheaper, I don't know. Large scale or TGN, whatever. I'm just quoting DDM prices. So that's another thing you're going to need. Okay? And then finally, the most expensive part you're going to need is your clutch housing. That's not going to fit from your other motors because your spacings that hook up, your holes that hook up to the bottom end itself, they're not going to fit. Okay? Because they're wider spacing. So you're going to have to get a clutch housing. Okay? Now that's going to run approximately, this is a stock one. If you just get a stock one, it's going to run you $20, $19.99. Okay, and that would be for the Baja, excuse me. If you want the Losi one, which is a shorty housing, that'll be a little bit more. That'll be $26.99. Okay, so roughly $20 for a housing for the Baja, $27 for the Losi. Okay, now, after you purchase those 4 things plus your longbore, all the other parts you're going to use from your existing engine. Okay, everything will fit. Let's talk about the pull starter side. You can use your existing coil, your existing flywheel, your existing fan cover. And yes, either a CY or a Zenoa will fit. It's just a matter of flipping a spacing around. And your existing pull starter. So all of that is the same. You can take it off your motor. Okay, the motor that you already had. Why spend more money if you don't need it? Let's talk about the other side, the clutch side. Okay, other than the clutch housing, you can put whatever clutch holder on. It will accommodate this housing. Okay, so your clutch cover will still fit. Okay, your clutch holder, either Zenoa or a Zen or an RCMK, that will fit in here. You can still use your two-shoe clutch if you want. A snapper clutch will also fit. A Lauterbach will not fit on the Losi, just to point out. If you're going to get a Lauterbach, because of the shorty housing, a Lauterbach isn't going to fit. But any standard two-shoe is going to fit. Your Turtle snapper clutch is going to fit. Whatever you want to put in there. Okay, so you're all set there. So bottom line is, when you add up the price of the G340 Longbore, you're looking at 199 bucks. And then you add up the 4 different things that you need: your manifold, your gasket, your wrist pin bearing, your engine shroud cover, okay, and your clutch housing. You're looking at an additional roughly $46 for the Baja, or $53 for the Losi. Okay? So what's the bottom line? It's going to cost you $246, okay, to drop this into a Baja. Everything. Basically a brand new motor plus the existing parts from yours. And $253 to drop it into a Losi. So you got basically a brand new G340 using some of your existing motor parts for under $260. You know, to me, that's the way to go. And ironically enough, you can't buy a stock G340 motor in its complete form. I've noticed that. You can buy the G320, but DDM and large scale, they don't even sell just a stock G340. You got to go with the long block this way. And then, of course, there's other long blocks available. You can buy one with a bullet bottom end. That's going to cost you more money. Or you can buy one with a Doug ESP has done, I believe, some race porting on one. And I believe that's an additional $40 onto the $199 stock G340 long block. So there you go. Just to give you another option. It's a very powerful motor. Make sure you put a good pull start on it, one that's not inferior, because you're probably going to break it or it's not going to work. I understand these have a lot of compression. So it's important to have a good pull start, maybe a couple extras. But my God, for under 260 bucks, you can throw in basically a brand new G340 motor, which is the most, you know, the largest motor that Zenoa even offers. Other than that, you're going to have to go up to a, you know, your 46 or your 70 series or something like that. Now you're talking major bucks. So just wanted to run that by you, give you guys some info. I'm pleased as punch with what I paid, because I really didn't need these extra parts. Although I did upgrade to a manifold bullet. I don't like using or a bullet manifold. I don't like using the stock one. I found them to warp, but it will work if you want to just use that. A bullet one is going to cost you about 40 bucks, so you'll spend a little bit more money that way. And then, of course, there's also different clutch housings you can get for the G320. This one happens to be stock. I know Turtle Racing makes one. Bartolone makes a vented one, which I'm running on my G320. But, you know, once again, I paid $179 because I got mine on a Black Friday sale. So $179 for basically another motor, a G340. You can't beat it. But anyway, just wanted to throw that option out in case none of you have, you know, are familiar with the long bore. Many of you think there's a lot more parts to buy to make it a complete engine, but there really isn't. And if you already have a smaller motor, you can use most of those existing parts that you already have. So over and out. Just wanted to run it by you, and happy hobbying.